Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the CodersArts. So in this video, basically we are going to show you demo what are our developer have created. Based on that, you will get the demo of the project, how the project look likes, and what are the functionality of the project and what are the technical aspects. So in this video, we will discuss all the things and what will the as a final product and what will the output, and along with that, we will try to get little bit about what are the technical aspect and what are the things we have implemented in background. Okay, so today with us, I have one our team member Pranav. Okay, so he will explain throughout this tutorial. Throughout this video, he will explain what are the projects, what are the projects problem, and then what are the solution what they have he has implemented, and based on that, a little bit about coding aspect. So, hi Pranav. So start your first explaining like what are the problem, what are the project about. Then we'll discuss like what are the things you have implemented and what are the functionality. Okay, so first start with what actually we are going to present and what is the projects about, and then we'll go with the further uh, code walkthrough of the project. Okay.
Okay, so this project is basically the new trend is in the natural language processing in the machine learning part is the use of large language models.
Mm-hmm.
So as you, with the chat GPT coming to the market with the commercial product, the use of the LLMs in the commercial or business aspect has gone significantly up. So and it also matches with the performance. So or RNN to basically do the NLP task.
Mm-hmm.
So with the introduction of transformer model and with LLM models, we are able to achieve much better natural language understanding generation as well as processing with these LLM models. So these LLM models are being used in different cases where traditional NLP models such as RNN were being used.
Mm-hmm.
So one such case is with respect to the chatbot. So in
Mm-hmm.
this project, what we are trying to do is that by using the power of LLM, we are going to create a chatbot that can like address any query with regards to what
Okay.
the customer says and what the chatbot will reply naturally.
Okay, so basically, I've implemented chatbot, right, using
Yes, sir.
LLM, right?
Yes.
So, is there any like open source API using like OpenAI API or maybe local model? How we are using this in this project?
No, we are so what we are so Open API could be used, but the cost of that API is little
Okay.
too high for regular business users.
Hmm.
So instead, we have used the open source LLM one, which was commercially released by Google. So
Okay.
it is
Yeah.
called as FLAN T5 model.
Hmm. Yeah. Also, Chat GPT, OpenAI API, they are also offering like you can also directly use their API, and directly integrate this one, right?
Yes.
But in this one you have been implemented using downloading this model direct local system, and then uh, right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So first you can how this app look like, and then what are their responses. Okay, so first uh, just start running this app, and what are the functionalities performing, just do that. Start
Yeah.
your.
Yes, sir. So this app is was basically designed while keeping in mind how our clients usually reply with us.
Hmm.
So as you can see, so these are general queries that are always coming to our mailbox. So usually we reply them. So instead of that, if the chatbot is automatically able to reply and understand such complex or different queries, so we will be able to address the client much faster with such
Hmm.
aspects.
Okay. So basically, as a customer, maybe whoever want to chat directly with maybe any company, whoever in have knowledge base or database or maybe integrated in their website, right? So they can
Yes.
directly use this. Okay. Okay. So and what are the like technical aspect behind this? Just explain like what are the uh, like what are the model you have used, how you have downloaded this model, how you run this app. Okay. So discuss those
Okay,
things
sir.
as well.
So the model we are using here is called as Google Flan T5 base.
Mhm.
So it was an open source model that was released by Google. So it is basically a text to text generation model.
Mhm.
So as you can see here, if we give a set of text, the language model learns from that text and then outputs a set of text again.
Mhm.
So this is a model which can be easily fine tuned to any one particular aspect. So in our case, we have trained it to only reply as a chatbot. So it can be also used to like do other projects such as translation or any other tasks such as classification also, etc.
Hmm. Hmm.
So how we have trained is that, so we have trained it locally. So
Okay, first explain what are that like you are using Hugging Faces. So how basically we set up like what are the flow of project? Like first we have to download this app. So first explain the process, like, and then we can go with the code. First explain
okay,
how we can do the setup part. Not we do not have to do setup, but just explain what are the process of doing the local setup. Okay.
okay. So so Hugging Face has already a library called as Transformer.
Mm-hmm.
So if we install that transformer library, we can easily access the model that are present in the Hugging Face.
Okay,
So
so how we can install this to local machine?
so we can just install it using the pip install transformer. So it will automatically download the transformer library from there.
So we have to give the name like Flanty
No, no,
file.
just the transformer is like a complete set of libraries, and if we want to access a model, we can specify that model after downloading the library. So, for example, in this case, first we have to install the transformer library.
Okay,
Then inside,
okay. Just show me the process
yes.
like how we can down install. You do not have to do install, but just show me the through terminal like where you are going to this view.
So if we just do pip install transformers,
Okay.
we can automatically download the transformer library.
Okay, fine. So we have to install transformer. Those transformer we have to pass this model, right?
Yes, sir. So
Oh.
inside that there are many like predefined classes which will automatically download the model on demand. So,
Okay. Go with like explain your code, like how
uh,
they are implemented. What are the flow of this project?
okay. So in order to like along with transformer, like we need two or three extra models for especially the training stage.
Hmm.
So one library is called a sentence piece. So it basically tokenizes the sentence basically. So it was a separate library. Again, it was released by Hugging Face themselves. So, but it is a separate library instead of being inside the transformers.
Hmm.
Then we have to download the dataset library. So it gives us some very good pre-processing steps for the dataset to be loaded.
Hmm. Okay.
Then after that, we have to download two more libraries, especially for training. One is known as Accelerate, and another is Evaluate.
Hmm.
So Accelerate, what it does is that generally the model weights are always stored in float 32 precisions.
Hmm.
So basically, it will have 32 decimal numbers after the point. So by using accelerate, we can change that precision from 32 up till 4. So we can even use float 4 precision.
Hmm.
So what it basically does is that, so if a 32 float precision takes say 10 MB to store a particular weight, by using float precision 4 we are able to, like if we go to float 16, then it will automatically come to 8, it comes to 2.5, and if we go for 4, it basically reduces to 1 MB weight. So by reducing that float precision, we are able to save some memory, which some we are able to like use that saving memory to run it locally.
Okay.
Then we have to install a library called as Evaluate, which has some specific say evaluation parameters with respect to such large language models.
Hmm. Okay.
So under that again we have to download one more library, Rogue Score, which is part of Evaluate library, but it's specifically for LLM scoring. Like the better the Rogue Score, better it is able to generate generalize the text.
Hmm.
So we can determine that using the Rogue Score, which is also part of that Evaluate library.
Hmm.
So here is I have defined some like predefined data set which we are using as part of our training process
Hmm.
specific to our chatbot.
Hmm.
So I have defined that here. Then we are loading the data set.
Hmm.
So while loading the data set, we have to make sure like the question and answer is basically separated by a tab.
Hmm.
So we are splitting with the tab and removing any white spaces within it.
Mm.
Then we are just loading the data set and splitting into training and testing data set.
Okay.
Then what we are going to do is that for every LLM, like they will usually provide a tokenizer along with it.
Mm.
So because it was the same tokenizer that was used to
Mm.
train that particular model during their training phase. So if the same tokenizer is available, then it is easier for us to like get the same model performance. So that we can get it by from the transformer library. We have two like uh, classes called as auto tokenizer and auto model. Here we
Mm.
are using sequence to sequence language model. So that is basically text to text generation.
Okay.
So from auto tokenizer, we are specifying which model tokenizer we have to download, and here we are specifying that model name.
Mm.
So after that, downloading the tokenizer, we are getting all the inputs from that data set,
Mm.
and then we are tokenizing each questions and answers separately.
Mm. Okay.
So this is we are tokenizing the questions here and tokenizing the answers here. Then we are arranging it in a dictionary for that model to take it from there.
Okay.
So after that, here we are just we have defined the functions over there, and we are just using that functions to make the data set ready.
Okay.
So after that, again, we are using that auto model sequence to sequence language model, and we are specifying that model ID, which is Google Flan T5 base.
Mm.
So after that, we are loading some. We have to define some metrics for
Mm.
that language model T value. So
Mm.
for that, we require the NLTK library. So
Mm.
from that, what we are basically yeah, we have to de-tokenize the word that model is generating. So
Mm.
we have to convert from numbers back into actual sentences and uh, compare those sentences with the actual answers. So that is what we have defined here using this
Mm.
compute metrics function.
Okay.
Then we are also loading that rogue metrics for us to get a clearer idea
Mm.
of how the rogue metrics changes during that particular training.
Okay.
And we have to define some uh, hyperparameters such as token ID for the label padding. So it
Okay.
basically defines how many words are there in between. Should the sentence be split
Mm.
before like having a pad token in between that sentences?
Okay.
So then after that we specify some training arguments for that specific model. So it again will vary depending on our like different LLMs. So for our Google specific LLM, we have to define a certain set of parameters that will usually be provided with that particular Hugging Face page itself.
Mm. Okay.
Then we have to make the trainer ready. So here we just specify what is the model arguments and what all data we have to use, and
Mm.
also the metrics that we are going to measure. So after defining the trainer, we can just write trainer.train, and the model will automatically start training. So as you can see, here the model starts training. So the first step of the validation loss is around 0.97,
Mm.
and these are the rogue scores which are generated,
Mm.
and this is what a generalized length of how many correct set of outputs the model is able to like generate,
Mm.
like number of tokens.
Okay.
So we have trained around for 50 epochs to get a very good validation score. So was able to go till 0.0011 as validation, and the maximum rogue score achievable for our particular set of data set was around 90.
Okay.
So it was able to achieve around 89, and
Mm.
the maximum like generalized length of the tokenized word was around 870.
Okay.
So after that, we are just saving the both model and the tokenizer to our uh, local machine,
Mm.
and so that we can use it later.
Okay.
So in order to just use this particular model again, we just have to import the transformer library alone, then
Mm,
just auto tokenizer and auto model sequence to sequence
mm,
class. Then we have to define where our model and tokenizer path are located. Then we are just loading it.
mm,
Then if we give it, we have to like again, if it was trained on a particular prompt, we have to give like a proper prompt for that model.
mm,
Then in our case, it was just a question and answer. So I just inputted the question, and then we have to use the tokenizer to tokenize that particular sentence,
mm,
and we have to make sure we are returning as tensor. Then it needs a certain length of input. Then we are just getting the input IDs. That means the numbers which the words actually represent.
mm,
Then the model, we are giving it to the model, and we are printing the
mm.
answer.
Okay. 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 So is this was the overall code overview of the project, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first, you can explain like what are the most like challenging part, like where the most of the person make mistakes, or what were your challenges during this step or completing the project. So first, what were the challenges during this project, and what are the common part where the most of the maybe developer face or maybe struggle to learn those concepts, or maybe able to, something. I'm not talking about any conceptual part, but how they are. Where they are stuck in implementing that part. There might be some critical things.
Yes, sir. So uh, as far as the LLM goes, since majority of open source model will be already trained on some pre-trained data set, so
Mm-hmm.
the ability of the model to generate natural language will be like limited to the amount of data it has been trained. So it will vary from LLM to LLM. So first, finding the right LLM could be a major issue for many different tasks.
Mm-hmm.
uh, then the biggest issue while developing is we need to like clearly understand how the data pre-processing is going to take place.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are not able to like clearly define how the data pre-processing should be done for that particular model, we cannot the model will not be able to generate as accurate result as we want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that is the major challenge.
Anything else?
uh,
So okay,
no. Yes.
so before like so suppose you are somebody want to build any chatbot, right? So similar like that. So how this would like is there some difference? Like suppose if making some conversational chat, right? Or maybe like just like we see most of the website, there is some pop-up box, there you can initiate your conversation.
Yes.
So and maybe some maybe rule based, only they will ask some certain question, and based on that they will answer. So is there some category of different type of chatbot, or is there like limitations? Obviously there is limitation of the tokens, how long you can enter the prompt, but is there in type of different type of chatbot based on the that, like if this type of categories are needed, then this type of LLM is better, or is if this type of conversion is required. So is there such thing, any criteria or for you are suggesting?
Yes, sir. So within the chatbot itself, if it is a just simple question and answering
Hmm.
chatbot, then such small open source LLM will be able to do the tasks, sir.
Okay.
But if we have to go for the bigger like conversational ones chatbot like ChatGPT,
Hmm.
then we have to make sure that it has to be trained on some certain set of instructions.
Hmm.
So just as here we used questions, instead of questions we have to tell that LLM that you are an assistant and you have to do what the user is asking you to do.
Hmm.
So such information will have to be provided to the LLM while training itself, and then we have to give it like different instructions and what should be the possible output for that to get a more generalized
Hmm.
chatbot.
Okay. Okay. And so the project you have explained. So what are the complexity of project? This for beginner, or maybe at least intermediate knowledge of LLM. So how is suggesting the complexity of this project for beginner, or this would be at least basic understanding?
So this mostly comes in the intermediate category only. So
Okay.
Beginners like won't be able to understand how this tokenization would work, or
Hmm.
how the metrics are being computed properly for the large language model.
Hmm.
So traditionally, this since NLP model were trained on RNN,
Hmm.
there we can easily set up a particular training environment with the help of TensorFlow or Python. So
Hmm.
they are very good pipeline for setting up. But in case of LLM, since the task is more generalized, we have to also go very deep to understand minute changes that needs to be done to in order to get a perfect LL.
Okay, okay. So suppose some businesses or maybe developer, they want to deploy this type of project. So uh, where they should go with OpenAI API, paid API, I'm talking about, or where they should, already pre-trained open source model are available. So they just train data, what are the process they have followed, the same process they can follow that they can host on their own server, right? So there is no any extra API cost, right? So
Yes.
where you are suggesting if the businesses or any developer they want to their basic conversation, right? So I don't think OpenAI API or extra API cost should be there, right? But I think if there is more deeper level, if you want to go, so just explain like what is your opinion about that? Where somebody should purchase those API, or where they should go with this open source available, and what are the cost of what are the main thing like where the most of thing will costly, right? Suppose we are if using open source this model, right? So it will be uh, training those data, so that will cost extra thing, right? So
Yes.
anything else, so just explain what are the things like if as a person we want to use as a real use as a for any application as a businesses. So what are the precaution or what are the different point they should consider?
So first, if you are going for Open API, the problem is that their newer set of models cannot be fine tuned on a particular set of data set that is limited within a company.
Okay.
So we can only use the API to get more generalized response of what the model has already learned on it.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
we cannot be able to like fine tune it for in our case such as chatbot,
Hmm.
because what it can only know whatever data it has been already trained on, so that limitations will be always there.
Hmm.
Then the another aspect of it is the data being leaked to the public, or that being trained on by the model by the open AI side.
Hmm.
So if we are using open API, then there will be a data agreement between the company and the API, so that some amount of data will be shared so that the model could perform. So in that place, there could be some like leakage of data if I don't know the exact details of the API.
Okay.
So some if company wants to prefer keep their data like within themselves and not give it to someone else, then they cannot use open API in that case. So they have to go for some open LLM. So with regards to open LLM, the only current issue with regards to the open LLM is that in order to deploy, you need a GPU.
Hmm.
So without GPU, you cannot deploy powerful models. In our case, we are since we are using a smart model, we are able to run it easily on a GPU. So if you want to build like more complex chatbots or more complex LLMs, then we need a GPU for it. So with GPU, then again we have to go for some cloud provider to provide that GPU instance.
Hmm.
So that could be sometimes costly, or if it could be like less than what could a API could cost, depending on the scale at which they are going.
Okay. Okay. So normally, like, how much time required? Suppose there is 1 GB data, right? Or maybe for make it simple, make it 1 GB data is available. So, okay. So generally, how much time GPU takes for training those data? Like for 1 GB, just for idea.
Uh, for 1 GB dataset, I think it would take roughly around uh, 3 to 4 hours to train on a GPU.
Okay. So that will be like what are the GPU we are using? So maybe the GPU cost will be only for those 3 or 4 hours, right? For
Ah, yes, sir.
Yeah. Because that is the main cost, right? Training the data. Because after that you
Yes, sir.
can save those model and you can run your own data, testing your data, right? So basically, So based on what type of GPU you are using and how fast you are building. So basically, if you are taking 3 to 4 hours, so you can consider charges according to like if you are taking 3 hours, so what will and because obviously when the company is starting, I don't think for a conversational chat more than 1 GB data will be there, right? So as a starting point, obviously a
Yes.
company large giant there might be limited data, just like Google, there is no limit of it, right? But I say for a starting, suppose you are just starting in AI domain, they want to build your all conversational. So maybe 1 GB data is already enough, right? 1 GB data maybe 1 lakh or 2 lakh or maybe 1 millions. Input output might be like that, but that is more than enough. At least giving the first try or starting how the things work. Okay. Okay, okay, fine. So after this one, like, what are the next steps? So everything we have done, Geo part, GUI part. So how we are done, like Geo part, like so this is integrated in this Jupyter notebook, or maybe that is local setup of.
No, sir. For GUI part, I used Django to do the GUI part.
Okay,
Mainly
okay.
because with Django we can build separate apps within the main application. So if we have multiple like AI related apps, so we can easily integrate with each other.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. So only explain those part, not zero part, like how we can use this model. Like after training, we have saved those model, right? And then we are
Yes.
using. Okay. So just show me the step, like how from where, from this coding part after saving this model. So how can integrate this model to Django? You don't have to explain the code. Just so where we set the path, how they can call this model. Okay.
Shall I show the code? Sir?
Yeah, you can show the code. Not all the
Okay.
code, like where you are using these models. And only explain those part, like in your Geo part, Django part, right? So where are you
Okay.
using this model?
So this is the like basic set of codes that was written on the Django part to basically get the input and produce the outputs.
Hmm.
So again, it is very similar to this. It is just that we have to write a simple function for it to like access that particular path and get that particular answer every
Hmm.
time a user asks that question. So we have to just again define where the model path is located and the
Hmm.
tokenizer path. Load both model and the tokenizer,
Hmm.
then convert the user input into the input IDs, then
Hmm.
generate the output. And again, while generating, also you have to be very careful with regards to that specific
Hmm.
chatbot you are training. For our case, maximum the answer length was less than 100, so we choose a maximum length of 100
Hmm.
uh, as the output length. Then we get the response, and then we will de-tokenize in the response of the model and give it back to the user as answer.
Hmm. Okay, okay. So just you have to give the path of that model, and rest the thing will be taking the prompt from input, and rest the thing part of the GUI, right? So
Yes.
okay. Okay, okay, fine. So I think that's all about this demo. So anything else we have missed? So we can explain like what are the important part of this project. We can explain like somebody want to build similar projects. Okay, so how they should start. Okay, and what you are suggesting, like for whom this type of project is helpful. Or maybe you are machine learning engineers, maybe generative AI, or just for irrespective of what your profile is, but just how this LLM things work or to where. So basically, explain to whom this type of project is helpful and why they should work on this type of project.
So, since LLM is like the new area of ML or AI that is coming up, it is very important to showcase that we are up to date with regards to the field. So, it is very important for the new machine learning engineers, either
Mm,
graduating or
mm,
seeking any new job, to showcase that we have worked on projects like this, just to showcase that
mm,
we have understood what are the basic principles behind these LLMs. So
mm,
it is very important for them to like do a demo project like this where they can showcase the use of LLMs.
mm,
And if they are able to train such models to any custom data set, it can again showcase that they have a deeper understanding of LLMs and how to train. Because what the current market demands is that each business need their own chatbots or their own set of LLMs trained within the company. So in order to avoid that data leakage issue,
Mm-hmm.
so they are mostly trying to develop LLMs in-house. So in order to develop such LLMs, you need to have a good idea how to train a basic LLM. That is the one significant part. So the next significant part is that you need to clearly like explore about the LLMs, because when I was exploring for an LLM for this particular chatbot, I came across like more than 4,000 to 5,000 LLMs that are available only on
Mm-hmm.
Hugging Face itself. Look for very good LLMs by going through each LLM page and seeing which LLM is good for us, because each LLM will be trained to one specific use on a particular specific data set. So we need to like able to differentiate which LLM is good for which task and which is not. And the next major issue is that while selecting the LLM, like going for the biggest LLM is always an easier task. We need to also look at the implementation or the deployment part, because recently the Meta launched the Llama 2 LLM models. So it seems, though it was a huge hit, the deploying a Llama 2 models have been very difficult, because the smallest model, the Llama 7B, which is basically 7 billion parameter model, alone requires a 40 GB GPU to basically run that model. So if you have to go for training, etc., you need more than 40 GB. So it will cost you significantly higher to deploy such models. So you have to be very careful regarding what amount of parameters you need in a LLM for your particular task.
Okay, okay. And so suppose, and how somebody should research about this? Like they directly should follow Hugging Faces, or maybe how basically you research about, like, only follow any website, or what was your approach? Like you directly go to the Hugging Faces, you read this about what are the new models coming. So how was basically your approach for researching this type of or learning LLM?
So for LLM, the Hugging Face will most likely have how to use that particular model in that particular
Hmm.
data set they have been trained upon. So the Hugging Face will most likely have the code only as I have shown here. So this is the basic information each model will be coming with. So it will
Hmm.
just give you an idea how to use the classes from the transformer library to load the model and generate the output. So if we have to go for training, then we have to again go for look for out for some data sets particular to that particular task, or create a custom one.
Hmm.
Then for training the model, there are I think one or two articles on very good articles on Medium, and on our blog also I have like written a very good article on how to train an LLM. So
Okay.
it can give you a very good idea about how what all steps you should like keep in mind before training an LLM.
Hmm. Okay, so there is no any single website. Obviously, what are
No,
the model you should use? First, go to Hugging Faces. Just read this documentation. Whatever the model open, but still there might be you face some challenge, right? What are the things you can
yes,
learn, and what are the different concepts, because they are not depth documentation available. So either you have to follow some Medium, or maybe other any one, maybe it's developer specific website, but there is no any such website they have given a complete instruction. Either they are, obviously if you follow some developer blogs, so obviously the developer have mentioned everything, but there is no any other company they are offering like that, right?
yes.
Okay. Okay, fine. So I think that's all for this demo briefing. So if you need more depth discussion, or maybe we have missed something, so you can comment below. We will try to explain in more details. So this was just as a casual talk. We are trying to explain what are the project our developer has created. We try to showcasing in this series, and also little we have because we are not going to explain line by line code, because you explain line by line code, so it will take more time. So but this was just for showcasing demo what are the things we are doing there. And also if you are businesses or developer or either a student, so either a learner, you need to this type of project as a your MVP, or maybe a proof of concept, or maybe either you are a want to build carry an LLM, or any new technology like generative AI or others type, this type of transformer is coming. So we are always here to help you. Our expert will also can help to what are the things we are facing. Maybe either you need complete project, or either you need some part of the code. So our developer will help you that. So this video was just for showcasing what are the project we have implemented, what are the project we have built, so that based on that you will get some insight and what are the things are important for you, and you should, and where you should go with that website, and what are the different resources, what are the challenges you are facing. So okay, so anything else you, Pranav, want to share as a developer? What are the things individuals should focus on, and how they should avoid this common mistake, or they should not stuck in a long loop of the time? So anything else as a final message?
Always like look out for some like very developer specific articles if you can find it,
Hmm.
because there are very less, so that will give you one or two insight which you can use while especially like developing an LLM.
Hmm.
So I would always again suggest to first go with an open source LLM
Hmm.
before training a custom LLM from scratch, because it again takes a lot of time.
Okay. So have you written any blog on this project in our website? Have you
Ah,
written?
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
So I would.
Okay, fine. So also we will add the article, blog of this project, how the things work. So we can also add the link in the description below, so you can follow along with that. Okay. So that's all for everyone for this video. Maybe next video we will get more such insight. So just do some like, subscribe, and and also comment how this video was helpful. Is there maybe we should focus something else? So we will try to go with your suggestion, and we will try to focus on more engaging part. Okay. So that's all for today. Let's meet in another one.